laws are not made to hold people down. You understand? I mean, there are people who have walked into courtrooms with legal lawsuits that were turned away by judges. All they have to do is say it comes under a matter of national security. Now, well, my question is, how could this be a national security issue when there's already pictures of implants, okay? When there's already pictures of directed energy weapons, when there's declassified documents from the Army that states that these microwave weaponry does exist, and here's their effects, and here are the people. The only thing that's missing is the justice. The only thing that's missing is an honest courtroom and an honest judge. And we don't have that. We are in serious trouble in this country. Seriously. In trouble in this country.
They began conducting operations in Indiana, training operations in Indianapolis. They've been seeing over Indianapolis the military helicopters, and they say that this training is specifically for the event of martial law. Do you foresee in the future any usage of martial law?
Yes, I do. You're starting to see it now. You're starting to see it in this country right now. If you go to rallies and events and you see the way the enforcement agencies and these riot squads react towards people who are protesters that are conducting peaceful rallies, and it turns into a disaster because of brutality by the people who are, holding back the people who are protesting. There was one in Broward County very recently I had seen where a lady was hit a couple of times with rubber bullets, and they interviewed the cops afterwards, and they were laughing and carrying on, and the guy congratulated. He wanted to know who's the one that shot the bullet and all this kind of stuff. And they had an interview with the head of the thing, and he said how embarrassed he was, and he doesn't know why his people did that. Well, P.S., they're being trained right now in certain areas, like you've probably already seen. What was it, in Illinois or Idaho, one of the states that recently carried and conducted these, they call it they worked in cities, city terrorist type of stuff. Well, that is training for this FEMA eventual shutdown. That's how they want to take over the country when they go into one world government. I am totally convinced that's exactly their plan. This is how they'll take it over. They'll fake another terrorist attack, or they'll give some reason why that they should shut down this country. Maybe it'll be a nuclear blast, who knows. Something horrible, and that's how they will take over this country and force it into a one-world government. And they will get as many dissenters as they can. This is why they're targeting a lot of advocates now. This is why they're using this type of weaponry now. This is why they're using chemtrails to poison people with, all these bacteria that are coming out. This is all, if you follow the dots, okay, and get away from the conspiracy nut theory and look at it that we are in serious trouble with some very bad people, and this is what's happening. It is happening in this country. Many people will not believe what I'm saying right now is existing, and the only people who know it exists are the people who are already targets of it. We know more about the nature of the beast than anyone because we're already on the receiving end of it. If your house is hooked up with directed energy accommodations and you have neighbors that are allowing people to come into their residence and use directed energy and ultrasound radio on you, and you see these criminals and you're being stalked by these criminals, and some of which are enforcement, you know what is happening and you realize what is coming down. If you try to explain this type of stuff to Joe public in general, they're going to look at you like you're nuts. And that's exactly what the perpetrators say to cover themselves up. They use always a tinfoil hat or this or that. But even with credible people who are not, victims of being railroaded into a mental ward, people who are considered professional, who are inventors, who have invented items to detect this type of directed energy, they can't even get their cases heard in court. Okay, there's one gentleman's name. His name is John Mecca, M-E-C-C-A. If you go to a website called secretangel.tv, it gives everything why they wouldn't listen to his lawsuits in court. And you have to understand that when you become listed as an enemy combatant, you are no longer a citizen in this country. they delist you as a citizen. You have no more rights. You have no rights as a citizen in this country, although you better pay your taxes and make sure of that, but you are considered a non-citizen, and that gives them the right to do this type of stuff to you. And it comes under the Patriot Act as well. So we really need to change a lot in our country. And basically my answer to all this is to identify the politicians who are pandering to the corporations and to these world bankers and doing the dirty work for the military, and we need them replaced. We need them to understand that the citizens run the government and not the other way around, which it's become. And the biggest problem of all is the people got lazy in this country. They didn't watch what the government was doing. They became dependent upon this government, and they became accepting in this government. They didn't take an active role in their freedom. And, the forefathers knew that very well. Thomas Jefferson said it very, very well. Freedom not worth fighting for is not worth keeping. And that's what we're in now, the fight of our life to keep the freedom in this country. We're at the fight of our life. If people continue to ignore politics, if they continue to ignore what's going on in our country, in our welfare, our social system, in our immigration, in our finances, we will lose the United States of America. The sovereignty of this country will go. The AMRO will take effect because the dollar is worth just about nothing now in every other part of the world. And our workers are hurting. Ford's laying off 30,000 more workers very soon, and it goes on and on and on. Where is the protectionism? If our own government, if our own senators, if our own congresspeople don't take an interest in it, where is it going? Out the door.
The church and many other groups have been posting concerns and warnings that the media may end up in the hands of just a few people, the media of the world, and that this could actually be a threat considering that people depend upon the media for truth.
Well, I think that's happening right now. I think that, back in, when Ronald Reagan made it possible for corporations to buy multi newspapers and multi TV stations, that's when it occurred. If you look at Rupert Murdoch or Time Warner or ABC, how many stations do they own? We are in a blackout. We are in a communications media blackout in this country. There are very, very, if not too many left that are broadcasting real news on the major networks on TV because they are owned by major corporations whose only value is its stock value. So if they report bad news, it has an impact on the ownership of the media station. That's why some of the media people, some of the anchor people have been fired or had problems for many years. I have to give credit to a man, Lou Dobbs. Lou Dobbs happens to be one person that of all the people that as far as I'm concerned, that are on TV today, because I don't even bother to watch TV anymore. I don't believe half the things that are on there. I think everything is just, if you want real information on what's going on in this world, you're on the internet. Otherwise, you're just getting misdirected by major news. But Lou Dobbs happens to be one person who is trying to, through the mass media, tell people about the North American Union, to tell this country that we have an immigration problem, that, our borders are not tight, they are not secure. It is impacting our financial systems. It's impacting the way cities are run, the way counties are run, our assistants, our jails, everything. I mean, it's having a total impact on our economy and our social economic system and our security. It really is. It goes right across the board, immigration. Now, don't get me wrong. I have no problems with immigrants. We're all immigrants, okay? I'm not an anti-immigrant hater that people can't come from other countries and make a living here. I do not have a problem with that. I have a problem that if you don't want to become a citizen in this country and you want to be a criminal and just live off the fat of the land, then get out. You know what I'm saying? Either become a citizen or become at least a documented alien and, do something as a whole. It's like today we have no protectionism. This country needs protectionism, big time. Our citizens our government, everything. We have no checks and balances. The problem is our government has no checks and balances because no one's held accountable when they get caught.